And welcome back. We're now going to dig into our milestone task. When students are completing this milestone task, or before students even complete this milestone task, really, we want you to make sure that you are completing the milestone task yourself. This is going to be crucial because it's going to literally guide your instruction. We're in Unit 4.7. Our hope is that by now you really have an understanding of where your students are and what gaps you might need to fill in, how you're going to differentiate your instruction to make sure that all students have access to this task. So that starts with you. And we are not asking you to do anything that we ourselves don't do as the coaches, resource teachers, or even the elementary math department. We ourselves go through and we complete the math before we do our presentations, before we come to you, before we come to you. We do a real deep dive into the unit because we found that that is going to give us the most gains, and that's going to help improve student achievement for 4.7. So let's get into 4.7, the milestone task. The overview. Students are going to demonstrate their understanding of the additive nature of angles by constructing a 135-degree angle with a protractor and then dividing it up into smaller angles according to the specific guidelines. For the constructive response portion, students find the measure of an unknown angle based on known information and then create a two-column table to solve problems involving the conversion of length measurements. Tools that you would need for this are going to be a protractor. If you're following along with your slide deck, we are on slide number 16. And you can select, if you click up here, it will take you to our Cami. Now, if this is your first time utilizing Cami, or if you're logged out for some reason, go ahead and authorize it to have access to your Google Drive. Make sure that you select your PGCPS account. Once you've selected your school account, you will have access to this Cami document. So we really recommend that you use this Cami document online. You can also print it as well. But it's very important for your students to have access to using these online tools because, as we know, MCAP is online. The milestones are available for you to use online along with the benchmarks. So the more access they have and the more feedback you can give your students, even online, the more powerful or impactful your instruction becomes. So let's take a look at this milestone task. In PE, Mr. Crandall measured the heights of his students. Here's the height data for 5 of his students. Notice over here on the right side, you have your 1 yard equals 3 feet, 1 feet equals 12 inches, and then 1 yard equaling to 36 inches. All right, we have Emma, we have Emmett, Emmanuel, Art, and Angela, and Emma. And then the students are tasked with putting these students in order from shortest to tallest. At this time, go ahead and pause this video. If you have not already done so, please complete this milestone task. And come on back when you're done. After you've completed your milestone task, let's talk about this reflection. What does the milestone scoring guide tell you about student expectations? Problem 1. A, students should be able to correctly put the students in order from shortest to tallest. Edit here, make them. So for problem A, for problem 1, now let's take a look at what the milestone is asking us to do. And what does the scoring guide tell you about student expectations? For problem 1, A, students should be able to correctly put the student in order from shortest to tallest. And the student's explanation should be clear and well developed with logical reasoning of measurement conversions and communicated by the use of precise and appropriate measurements. For problem 2, students should be able to accurately fill out the conversion table with correct measurements, and the student communicates an accurate and organized solution to solve this problem by converting our measurements. For problem 3, students should be able to accurately measure all 3 angles within 3 degrees of accuracy and correctly label each angle. For problem 4, student accuracy, students need to accurately draw angles that measure 50 degrees within no more than 3 degrees of error. So what does that mean? It should be no greater than 53 or no less than 47. Student accurately divides 50 degrees into 2 angles. They need to justify their work with an addition equation. And the explanation should be clear and well developed with logical reasoning. So now let's take a look and let's reflect. The desired student behaviors that show students are meeting expectations are: they are correctly converting and ordering measurements. They're creating, labeling, and measuring angles with accuracy. They're explaining and justifying their response with an equation. They need to make sure they are clear. They have clearly explained their response. And they've justified that with an equation for this particular milestone. What are the instructional implications for teachers by the end of this unit? Now, this is what we have created. Did it match with what you were thinking? Let's see. Teachers must provide students an opportunity to solve real-world problems involving conversion of measurements and explain the operation performed in the conversion. Teachers must make a connection to converting larger units into smaller units. Teachers must provide students with the opportunity to create and measure angles while simultaneously identifying the type of angle being created. And teachers must give opportunities for students to decompose larger angles into smaller angles. All right, and this concludes our milestone segment. Stay tuned